US President Donald Trump said that Hamas hostage ransom deal may not last. Trump was asked if he was confident the ceasefire would hold. He said, "I'm not confident, but they're very weakened on the other side." Why is Trump not confident? He's not confident because he knows that Hamas is a savage and barbaric terrorist army that has no regard for human life. Hamas has no line that it will not cross. Hamas still won't say which hostages will return alive and which in coffins. Hamas wants to use this pause in the fighting to recover. That's why Israel's Prime Minister said, former President Biden and President Trump agreed to back Israel in resuming military action if Hamas violates the deal. Israel needs every hostage home now. That's why Israel is paying Hamas's bloody ransom. But we know this is a bad deal, and we won't let Hamas use it to hurt us more. Also, President Trump said something else about the Hamas ransom deal. President Trump said Hamas cannot run Gaza again. Trump was asked about who would govern Gaza in the future. He said, "You certainly can't have the people that were there, most of them are dead, but they didn't exactly run it well. They run viciously and badly. You can't have that." Israel left Gaza completely in 2005. After that, Hamas ran the Gaza Strip since 2007 when they took it in a bloody coup from the Palestinian Authority. Hamas had a state. Hamas didn't build a paradise. Hamas built a hell. Hamas had billions in international funds. Instead of using it to build Gaza and infrastructure to the Gazan people, Hamas educated the death squads of October 7th. Hamas built the tunnels and brought the weapons of October 7th. Hamas wants to again run Gaza so they can get billions for another October 7th, like they promised. In Hamas's victory speech, they gloated about October 7th and again said they will destroy Israel. Hamas wants to destroy Israel. This is clear. There cannot be peace with Hamas. Hamas cannot be allowed to rule Gaza, or else Hamas will again try to murder and the ceasefire will end. As President Trump said, you can't have that. Now, let's take some questions from our audience watching live on social media.
Thank you, Jonathan. Our first question comes from Instagram. What does the new Trump administration mean for UNRWA funding?
Well, as far as we know, there is no additional information on the subject of the US funding UNRWA except what we already know. Trump signed an order pausing all US foreign development assistance for 90 days. Some commentators said the order would halt US aid to the scandal-plagued United Nations Relief and Works agencies. But the US has already been barred from providing aid to UNRWA for nearly a year by law. Now this could go until at least March, and we will see what will happen after that.
Thank you. Our next question comes from John. What do you think the new Trump administration will do with Hamas hosts Qatar and Turkey, both of which are supposedly Western allies?
Well, thank you very much, John, for your question. We know, in effect, that Qatar has funded Hamas throughout the years and is now hosting the most head of Hamas in its territory, providing them with security, and also said lately that they're going to fund again what's happening in Gaza. This is something that we need to make sure that can't happen again, that the money that if Qatar will do support can get to the hands of Hamas itself for them to rebuild and regain power again and buy weapons in order to destroy Israel and drag us all again to war. I do believe that Trump is affirmative about making sure that no wars will happen in the future like he promised in his campaign. And this is something that we're really looking forward. Except of putting Qatar and Turkey on the line for providing Hamas shelters, we need to make sure that they can't have that again in the future.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Carly. What do you think the new Trump administration will do in Lebanon?
Thank you very much, Carly. Well, as we heard Trump's campaign, basically we need to know that Trump has said that he's going to appoint his daughter's father-in-law, that is his relative, to be the convoy for the Lebanese administration and to help him and assist him on Lebanese affairs. That was during what we had in the war between Hezbollah that launched its war against Israel on October 8th, that Trump promised also to make sure that this war never happens again. As we heard before, Trump really leading towards something that will bring any resolution to the Middle East, not just any piece of paper that is like a ceasefire, but more of a peace deal that could stand long for a long period of time. This is what Trump has said throughout his campaign. I really hope that now, after he became officially president, that he will continue to persuade that to make sure that Hezbollah in Lebanon can't control any Lebanese territory and they can't affect if Lebanon would go to war or not, and also to make sure that the new administration in Lebanon is much more anti the hand and the holdings of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and to basically closen it more to the West. This is what I'm really hoping to see that happens in the new Trump administration. Hopefully he will continue his promises from his campaign.
Thank you, Jonathan. Our next question comes from Ed on YouTube. How is the ceasefire in the north going? Has the retreat been completed, and is the Lebanese army working to keep away Hezbollah?
Much for your question, Ed. What we know for now, there is still some Israeli troops in southern Lebanon that has consistently been withdrawing from south of Lebanon step by step in order to make sure that the infrastructure that is still there will not be able to be used by Hezbollah to attack Israel again. Let's remind you, Hezbollah wanted to do October 7th just in a higher scale. The amount of ammunition that was caught by the IDF during that 2 months of an intense war was brought to Israel in order to make sure it wouldn't fall again in Hezbollah's hands. Yet we've seen that Hezbollah have breaking the ceasefire agreements while transferring some ammunition and trying to again get closer to the Israeli border. The new administration of Lebanon has repeatedly said that the Lebanese government should be the one to rule all of Lebanese territories, and the only one holding weapons in Lebanon should be the Lebanese military. This is the new President Aoun's speech on the day that he was elected. Hopefully, the new government in Lebanon will continue in those steps in order to make sure that the Lebanese military will hold all the weapons that have left from Hezbollah and make sure that the border with Israel and Lebanon will stay quiet. And hopefully this also new administration, and this is my wishing, that they will continue on a step forward, not just signing a ceasefire, but signing an actual peace deal between the state of Israel and the state of Lebanon, that we can finally prosper next to each other and with each other.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Daniel on Instagram. Israel announced a new military operation in Jenin today. What do you know about the situation there?
What we have been hearing about the situation in the West Bank is that Hamas, again, is trying to take holdings of territories in the West Bank. They have used the same tactics that they used against Israel while holding and hiding inside of civilian infrastructure and shooting at also the Palestinian Authority's militaries and also at the Israeli militaries from there. Now what we heard that Israel has requested from the Palestinian Authority to withdraw its own troops from the territory of Jenin for the IDF to enter and make sure that the terrorist organization, including among them also Hamas, will not be able to try and attack Israel from the West Bank like they promised that they will do another October 7th. This is the latest news that we know of today, and hopefully it will end swiftly and shortly and make sure that these terrorist organizations will cease to exist for good.
Thank you. This is our final question from Instagram. Following the hostage release the other day, we saw a lot of Hamas terrorists around the aid trucks as the hostages were released. Do we know what an accurate account of Hamas numbers and capability are in Gaza and who's leading them?
We still don't know the actual number of how many Hamas militants and Hamas terrorists have yet to go to the next life, as we say it. Hopefully that now, after they thought that they're safe, they will go out, return back all the hostages, and we can go and make sure that Hamas wouldn't be able to rule Gaza again in the day after. I mean, I myself, when I saw these images, when Hamas terrorists are surrounding not just our hostages, but also surrounding the Red Cross vehicles. That's a really sad day. And I don't believe how people can still root for Hamas in the Western world and say, yes, these are the good people, while you can see the 3 female hostages being transformed from their captivity after 470 days in their terror dungeons. This is something that, for me, it was a really sad day to see that. And I really hope that the world will also understand. Al Jazeera published live images of Hamas terrorists going out of hospital in Gaza. You can see them going out of a school in Gaza. These are actually where they were kept hiding. Do you need another proof to understand that this is Hamas's MO all along? This is why they dragged and kidnapped the hostages on October 7th, why they kept holding them, and why are they using human infrastructure in order to attack Israel? It's there. You just need to look at it and see it. And I really hope that the day that all of the hostages are back home, we will make sure that this is also the last day of Hamas's existence. This is not just for us Israelis, but for the entire community and the entire international community. Now, that's what we all have time for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Israel time, 8 a.m. East Coast time. Thank you very much for watching.